Jasmine Crockett exposed Pam Bondi's son's secret. 17 seconds later, he crumbled on live TV. The studio lights were blinding, the kind that make even the most confident people sweat. The audience sat in hushed anticipation. The live debate had been tense all evening, political disagreements, sharp retorts, and the usual fireworks. But nobody expected what would happen next. Across the table sat Jasmine Crockett, a congresswoman known for her fiery words but also for her fierce compassion when the cameras were off. To her right, Pam Bondi, the 27-year-old son of former Florida Attorney General Pam Bondi, was already gripping his pen so tightly it looked ready to snap. He was there defending his mother's latest political campaign, sharp, direct, and utterly unyielding. The discussion took a sudden turn when Jasmine leaned forward, her tone softer than anyone had heard that night. "Evan," she said, "can I ask you something not about politics? Just, as one human being to another." The question caught him off guard. The crowd quieted even more. "You've spent the whole night defending your mother's record," she continued, "but, does she know what you've been doing after midnight, every Tuesday, for the last 3 months? Evan froze. In that moment, 1,000 scenarios ran through the audience's minds. A scandal, a crime, some political betrayal. Cameras zoomed in on his face. His confident armor was cracking. Jasmine's next words weren't an attack, they were a lifeline. "I know about the shelter, Evan." The air shifted instantly. "The one downtown. The one where you've been quietly dropping off bags of groceries, paying for kids' school lunches, fixing broken beds in the middle of the night, without telling anyone. I only found out because one of the moms there wrote me a letter, thanking the tall young man who looks like he stepped out of a magazine but smells like fresh paint and laundry soap." A ripple of surprise went through the room. The cameras caught Evan swallowing hard, his eyes darting away. His voice trembled. I didn't want anyone to know. If people knew, it would look like I was trying to buy forgiveness for politics I didn't even choose." Jasmine smiled. "Not the political kind, but the kind that comes from deep understanding. Kindness doesn't need an audience, Evan. But sometimes the world needs to see that even in families where people disagree, compassion still exists." 17 seconds. That's all it took. The hard exterior collapsed. Evan's shoulders slumped, his eyes glistened. And in front of millions watching live, he admitted, "Those kids, they don't care about politics. They just need someone to show up." The debate never returned to its bitter tone. The audience applauded, not for a political win, but for the rare moment when humanity eclipsed headlines. After the show, Evan and Jasmine walked out together, sharing stories of the people they'd met. The homeless father who rebuilt his life after someone gave him a second chance, the little girl who now slept in a real bed instead of a bus station bench. Weeks later, that shelter received a surge of donations from people across the country, inspired not by charity galas or viral challenges, but by a brief, unguarded moment of truth on live television. The final segment of the broadcast that night played again and again on social media, Evan, humbled, saying softly, "They just need someone to show up. And maybe, that's all the world really needs, more people willing to show up." Evan didn't sleep that night. The applause, the camera flashes, Jasmine's unexpected kindness, it all looped in his mind like a song he couldn't turn off. For years, his life had been a series of careful appearances, the perfect suit, the perfect smile, the perfect defense of his family's name. But that night, people had seen him, not the son of Pam Bondi, not the political heir, just a young man trying to do something good without strings attached. By morning, his phone was flooded, reporters wanting interviews, strangers thanking him, old classmates apologizing for judging him. But it wasn't the attention that shook him most. It was the letter that arrived at noon. It was from a 14-year-old boy at the shelter named Marcus. The handwriting was messy, the spelling imperfect, but the words hit like a punch. "Greater than, Mr. Evan, you fixed my bed when I thought it was trash. You said, everybody deserves to rest. Nobody ever said that to me before. I'm not scared at night anymore. I hope you're okay even if people are mean to you on TV. I think you're my friend. Can I call you that?" Evan read it 3 times. For the first time in years, he cried without trying to stop. That weekend, he went back to the shelter. No cameras, no reporters. But this time, something was different. The kids ran to him like he was a big brother coming home. Marcus handed him a small plastic ring, a cheap toy from a vending machine. "So you remember you promised you'd never forget us," Marcus said. He didn't know it, but Jasmine Crockett had also shown up that day. She didn't come in, didn't want to steal the moment. She just watched from her car, smiling. Later, she would tell a friend, "It's funny, I went into that debate thinking I'd win points. I walked out realizing the real win was helping someone remember who they are." Months later, Evan launched a quiet initiative. Show Up, not a charity, not a flashy campaign, just a network of volunteers willing to do small acts of kindness without needing recognition. And while the political world still saw him as Pam Bondi's son, the people at the shelter, the volunteers, and a certain boy named Marcus just called him friend. It turned out, the 17 seconds where he crumbled weren't his lowest moment, they were the start of his real life. Because sometimes, the bravest thing you can do is simply show up.